At this time, I'll invite Mr. Davidson or Anthony, Mr. Davidson Edwards, co-founder of Shopdm, to provide his insights. Let's make him feel welcome.
Yeah, sure. Can you all hear me clearly? Yeah, so I think I'm actually not as prepared as usual for this, but what I'll seek to do is give a short background on what I do and the elements of the budget that of last year's budget that seem directly relevant to our company. Also, our company is very interested in that it's a big ecosystem player, so we're connected to many other companies, and I'll just go on the spot because I'm again not as prepared as usual. But yes, so my company, Shopdm, that's our trading name. What we do is we enable e-commerce and payment processing for local companies in Dominica. So we work with about 400 partners, and since our recent pivot into payment processing, we're really cross-industry. We work with taxi drivers, apartment owners, manufacturers, retailers, restaurants, etc. So I guess that allows us to have a useful view on how the policies penetrate into the part of the economy that we can see, right? I think Honorable Peanut made a really great separation there between the macro and the micro environment. I can really only speak to the micro environment, right? Like I see the macro projects, and I look forward to the lowering of the energy costs and the increased inflow of the tourists with the international airport. So I just want to caveat everything I say, because I like to speak about, when I speak, I like to make sure it's useful. I like to make sure I focus on what I can actually contribute to. So as a technological ecosystem player in Dominica right now, there's a few relevant things I can say. The first is last year's budget included innovation grants for technology companies. So that's directly relevant to our company because we received one, and it was very useful. Like I said, we also work with other partners that are similar. One partner that comes to mind is Quick Delivery, but because again we're so cross industry, other people in our network receive such grants. So I just want to put that out on one side. I would say though, in general, we within our company and with our close partners who I can talk directly for, and the impression we get from the wider partners in our network is that we don't feel very supported by the existing policies. Again, I just really want to caveat that because it could be the snapshot that I'm getting because of where I'm sitting, right? We wouldn't be involved with the airport project, for instance. So what I'm going to do to keep myself tight and useful here is I'll talk specifically about that one policy that did touch us from the last budget. Then I'll talk really clearly about some small interventions that I think could be useful, and I think that will wrap up into like just broader contributions before I end. So going on to the innovation grant I mentioned earlier. Again, I was really, really happy when first of all I saw that announced. My time in the UK really gave me a useful lens on the difference between the business environments there and here, and grants are something I've been shouting about. Robin knows, Robin knows that very well. In our case, the innovation grant was so I'm speaking specifically about a policy as a recipient, right? It was announced in December, and we submitted our application right around the end of December when it was the deadline. We ended up receiving the grant money. I think we got the award in May the next year, and the money hit our account I think in around the end of July, beginning of August. So immediately you can see one of the things I'm going to highlight, right? Like whatever these policies seek to do, if they can do it faster, there will be more impact. In our case, where we engage very much with everyone that's relevant to us, right? Like so there was a lot of engagement trying to determine what the status of that grant was while we were through the process, and I will say that it wasn't very easy to get information. At the end, the amount that was awarded, we were surprised because it was significantly lower than the total amount that was quoted. Now our application for the grant, of course, was supported by a project which we got invoices for, etc. In the end, I think it was less than 15% of the total amount that we had bid for that was awarded, right? So again, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but this is just a snapshot, right? Like I run a company in Dominica. Our company is largely largely funded by investment from different actors and our revenues, right? Just from the last few sentences, you can see how I would back up a statement that we don't actually feel supported by the policies. But I can see how with some minor tweaks, which I'm sure everyone here is interested in, we could be. So that's what I want to focus on. But again, to just make sure we have the points there, I think what's happening is it's happening too slow. I think there's not enough transparency during the processes. And I think if we're really all in this room because of development, we need to put money into Dominicans at every opportunity, especially ecosystem players like our company, where $1 spent with us means support to more than just ourselves. Okay, so let me move on. All right, so I gave this snapshot. So what do I think could be done better? I'm sort of alluding with that with how I just wrapped up there. But I think when we speak about the micro aspect of the economy, what I love, Dominica is small and we're all connected. I think there are many policies that can be put in place which require low amounts of resources, but they can have a large impact. So when I see a grant, that's why I started off by saying I applaud the grant project where up to 40,000 EC dollars was made available to local businesses, right? So again, talking just about entrepreneurship. With the companies that we work with, you're talking about companies that have $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 of revenue, right? And often they have one or two staff members. So you can easily subsidize the annual cost of such a company with a grant of the size that was made available. The question is really down to the choice, right? Like, so the choice of who receives it. So I think super micro. So what I would like to see with our policies and what I hope the discussion goes into is how can we lower the costs of the companies, right? And I love the direction that Honorable Pinard went in, where if you pool resources, such as you have a shared rental space, you have shared co-working space, you have shared capital inputs, that means those small companies don't need to spend on that. And then how can you raise the amount of money those companies have access to before they have large amounts of revenue? And that's grants, that's creating better avenues for private investment. I'm really not a fan of loans because I don't think you build small entrepreneurs with debt. I think that's something you take as growth capital. But I think I can see many partners that we work with who have given a few small interventions, such as access to a place that they don't have to pay rent, or given or given access to a grant program that runs on a fixed annual schedule with predictable, transparent application and awarding dates, I think we can dramatically change the fortunes of those companies and give them a chance to grow into the bigger companies that are going to grow the environment. So just to wrap up, like I said, I spoke about that one program that we directly interfaced with, talking about just some general things that I think could be done better, concretely and general. And just to go into a more general point to end, I think I applaud the efforts of the government. To be honest, I am very happy that I think there's many countries on earth where such a program would not have gotten off the ground at all. I think it was done better than a lot of things I've seen previously. And I think the general areas that we need to improve on are, one, communication between the private and public sector, which is what we're doing right here. And also transparency. For instance, with such a grant, I think it's kind of obvious that you might want to consider listing who were the awardees, what they were awarded, and what the criteria was for making those decisions after the grant, right? And these sort of things should be made public to the same extent as the application opportunities made public. But the general thing is transparency. And I also think, like, both the public and private sector, the different parts of government, the opposition, I think we can all benefit from pulling on what was in Brenton's initial speech, which is we're all here for the same thing. None of us benefit from Dominica being a small economy that is, flowing back and forth based on US tariffs, right? We all want to see a bigger economy where people have better opportunities. And I think if the interactions reflect that, we're gonna make lots more progress. So again, this was freestyle. I'm sorry if it was a little unstructured, but looking forward to questions after.
Thank you very much, Mr. Edwards. Definitely taking away the public-private sector collaboration, and even by greater extension, private sector, not just entities, but as well looking at persons who are consuming the product as well, so that we can receive their feedback and improve on products and processes.